My fiancée Ae Sophia was at her birthday party. Announced publicly that he wants to marry another man. The guests all looked at each other sympathetically and looked at me. Unexpectedly, I took the lead in applauding. And give a ring as a blessing. I said. Wishing you 100 years of good marriage and early birth of a precious son. I took off the ring on my hand and handed it over. But no one answered. Sophia clenched the hem of her skirt and looked at me with a resentful expression. The boy next to her proudly hugged her shoulder. I sighed. I put the ring on the table beside me. I casually pulled a woman over. Olivia. She likes to run behind my and Sophia's, but since she was young. She looked at me blankly and asked. James. What's up? I asked her. Have you been drinking? She said. No. I threw the car keys to her and continued speaking. I was drunk. Let me drive the car for you. Come home with me. Olivia responded with a smile. Just took 2 steps. Sophia rushed down and grabbed me. James. What do you mean? I rubbed my temples and said. I was busy all night at the company yesterday. After the morning meeting this morning, I went to Linshire. I only came back in the afternoon. Then I'll go get you a gift. I originally wanted to say happy birthday to you and leave. I lifted my wrist and glanced at the time. At this time, it's 8 o'clock. I said. I have another meeting at 10 o'clock today. Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., the plane will depart for Paris. Miss. I am tired. I don't have time to play with you. Sophia is in a state of confusion and disorientation. I'm really tired. There seems to be a nail drilling through the temple. I didn't say much and just broke free from Sophia's shackles and left. Olivia drove with me to our doorstep. When I got off the car, I casually gave Sophia the birthday gift I was planning to give her. That's a car key. Sophia has wanted this car for a long time. I put in a lot of effort to buy it. Olivia asked in surprise. Did you give it to me? I nodded and said. Take the key and go to the car dealership to get it yourself. Thank you. James. This sound is sincere and heartfelt. She asked again. James. Are you planning to break up with Sophia? I looked at Olivia and said. Yes. I will cancel the engagement soon. If someone asks about you, you don't have to hide it either. She said. Got it. James. This time, it was indeed Sophia who did something unkind. You should have taught her a lesson a long time ago. I smiled. Swing your hand and let her leave. I immediately went home. After taking a bath, I held on to my spirits and finished the meeting. Wait until the meeting is over. Even without buffering, I fell asleep on the bed. The next day, my secretary opened the door and woke me up. I'm completely in a daze. I feel like I haven't slept at all. Just a brief moment of squinting. My phone is full of unread messages and missed calls. Someone curiously asked me and Sophia what was going on. Someone is gossiping about whether I'm going to break up with Sophia. Someone cares about my condition. More of the same meaning as Olivia. I really should teach Sophia a lesson. Everyone thinks I'm just taking advantage of the situation. Let Sophia control the young lady's temper. Afterwards, Sophia and I will reconcile. After all, in their eyes, James loves Sophia very much. I have already lost my bottom line in love. Sophia was the person I liked from the beginning of my high school romance. At that time, she was beautiful and flamboyant. Bright and dazzling. No one can ignore her beauty. So am I. So I confessed to her. Sophia, can you be my girlfriend? Sophia looked at me. With a hint of contempt in his eyes. She said. Hello, top student. I don't like good students. Because Sophia's statement that she doesn't like good students. As a young and reckless person, I have done many absurd things. For example, smoking. For example, drinking alcohol. For example, skipping classes. For example, going to a bar. I started hanging out with Sophia. Until one day she appeared in front of us holding onto a gentle and refined boy. She said, "Introduce to you, my boyfriend." I suddenly understood. She doesn't dislike good students. She just doesn't like me. Sophia doesn't know how to swim, but she likes to keep changing boyfriends. She has had many boyfriends. Later on, in my sophomore year, I am engaged to her. Skip the relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend. We became unmarried couples directly. This incident hit her pain point. She cried but said fiercely, "You're doing whatever it takes to be with me. Do you know? I will never like you. How did I answer back then? By the way. I remind of it. I told her. No problem. I don't need you to like me. I just need you to marry me. From sophomore year to now. Sophia has been my fiancée AE for 6 years. These 6 years. Her frivolous behavior never stopped. She has flirtatious relationships with different men. Sometimes I go to help her with the aftermath. And I only ask her one sentence every time. Did you have sex? She asked. What if we make love? What if we don't have sex? I told her. Once you have sex, you will be free. But she's very strange. There are countless men pursuing her. But no one has ever touched her. I really don't know what she's holding on to. It's already 3 days since I came back from Paris. I haven't had any contact with Sophia these 3 days. But people in the circle often tell me her whereabouts. For example, the man Sophia said she was going to marry has already been dumped by her. For example, Sophia spends every day in the bar hanging out with people in her circle. Sophia's father has threatened to sever ties with her. For example, the car I gave Olivia. She bought it back for twice the price. And what surprised me even more was, after I got off the plane, I actually saw Sophia. Even wearing sunglasses couldn't hide the pallor on her face. She said, "My dad wants to invite you to our house for dinner." I said, "I'm sorry. I have something else to do. I can't go. I will personally call your father to apologize." Sophia looked at me. After a moment, she turned around and left. Just leave a cold and indifferent sentence, whatever you want. I didn't care. Drive straight home. I'm not just perfunctory with her. I do have something to attend to. Grandpa called me. Let me go home for dinner. Talking about eating. But in reality, it's just going back for training. He said, "I heard you had a conflict with Sophia." He's giving me a step down. I did not accept his affection. "Grandpa, I want to divorce Sophia's family." Grandpa lowered his face and said to me, "Sophia is a bit stubborn. You're doing well no matter what. But I will never agree to your divorce." I said, "No. I'm going to divorce." Grandpa slammed the table and loudly said to me, "Kneel down." I obediently knelt down in front of him. He said, "Do you know how much loss we will bear if we divorce Sophia's family?" Of course I know. It has been 6 years since we got engaged to Sophia's family. 6 years of time. Our cooperation with Sophia's family has become increasingly perfect. Not to mention the mutual prosperity and loss of both sides. At least one layer of skin needs to be peeled off when peeling it off. But I smiled and said, "What if I can recover this loss?" Grandpa calmed down. His hand lightly tapped on the table and said, "Then we'll wait until you make it back." So I came out of the old house and sent a message to my competitor. I wrote, "Emily, do you lack a husband? Emily is from our generation. A typical child from someone else's family. No matter who it is. At some point in life, I always hear my family say, 'Look at her, Emily.' Baifume, who is well-rounded in morality, intelligence, physical fitness, aesthetics, and labor, is like her. Never disdainful of dealing with us playboys. I only had contact with her after taking over the family business. How to put it? I successfully avenged this child from someone else's family whom my parents had told me since childhood. Last month. Emily and I are bidding for a piece of land at the same time. I won. Pressure her psychological price. Narrowly defeated her. This has made me proud in the circle to this day. Send the message over. Emily hasn't replied to me for a long time. At 11 o'clock in the evening. She finally had a reaction. Sent a question mark over. I swept away the depression in my heart. Laughing while holding the phone, flowers bloomed. I made a direct phone call. "Emily, what are you busy with?" Emily smiled politely. "James, how come you have time to call me?" I went straight to the point and said, "The question I asked you before. Have you considered it?" Emily fell silent for a moment. "Tell me. Husband." I took a cold breath. Although she spoke without emotion. But this sound goes straight to the sky's spiritual cap. I'll just call him my husband. Should I retaliate? Just as I hesitated, she spoke up again. "James, you need to introduce me to someone." I am speechless. So it was a question just now. Fortunately, my mouth doesn't have a quick brain. So I said, Mainly because Emily has also reached marriageable age. And I have another suitable candidate on my end. I don't know if Emily has any ideas. She was stunned for a while and asked, "Who?" I smiled and said, "Of course, the person being introduced is me." The phone was eerily quiet. When I picked up my phone and glanced at it. End of call. I am speechless. Fuck. Of course, I couldn't give up so easily. So the next morning, I went straight to Emily's company. "See me." Emily frowned. He dodged his gaze and said to me, "James, may I help you? I'm a little depressed right now." She's pretending to have amnesia. Then I'm not used to her. I said it directly. Don't miss the opportunity. Marrying me will guarantee a steady profit. Order now to enjoy a great value wealth package. Emily looked at me speechless. She bit her lip and looked at me, saying, "You're really here?" I said, "Do you think I was joking last night?" She said, "No. I thought you were drunk." Okay. I looked at Emily sincerely and said, "What about now? Do you want to consider me?" Emily looked me up and down for a while before saying, "I heard you had a falling out with Sophia. It seems to be true. But she doesn't even want a man. Why should I accept it?" I thought to myself that Emily didn't directly refuse. That's just some talk. So I continued saying, "That project in New York. I'll give you a 0.5 percentage point discount." Emily turned the pen in her hand and said, 3 percentage points. Emily, this is taking advantage of the situation to rob. I looked at her incredulously and said, 1 percentage point. She said, 3 percentage points. I said, 1.5 percentage points. No more. She said, 3 percentage points. I'm already gritting my teeth. I said, don't go too far. At most 2 percentage points. Emily said, deal. It doesn't matter if you have more money or less. Mainly, I am willing to help others. Live off a materialistic woman. Emily has reached an agreement on this matter. I have the confidence to negotiate with Sophia's family. So I arranged to meet Sophia's father. I didn't expect him to bring Sophia with him. A few days no see. Sophia is becoming increasingly depressed. Before entering the private room, Sophia grabbed my arm and asked, "Why didn't you call me? I'm feeling embarrassed right now." She continued saying, "The engagement is between the two of us. If you want to talk, why didn't you tell me?" I watched Sophia quietly. Sometimes I envy her. Until now, it's still so simple. I spoke to her and said, "You're wrong. The engagement has never been between the two of us." Sophia stared at me blankly. Her face turned pale. When Sophia and I went in, "Your father has already sat down in the main seat. I chatted a few times about everyday life." He said kindly on his face, "I know Sophia made you angry. I brought her here today. Sophia, this girl is not sensible. What dissatisfaction do you have to say?" "I will never protect myself." I smiled and said, "Today, I humbly ask you to come out. For my marriage to Sophia. Uncle. I intend to terminate this engagement." At this moment, the relaxed atmosphere instantly froze. Sophia suddenly stood up. She said word by word, "I disagree." Sophia's father lowered his face. "A naughty girl. Sit down." Sophia met her father's gaze and sneered. "What's up? You have to make decisions behind my back again. The engagement went against my will. Canceling now would go against my will again. What am I really?" Sophia's father slammed the table and angrily rebuked. "What exactly do you want? You disagreed during the engagement. It's been 6 years of turmoil. How much shame have you brought to both families in the past 6 years? Since you don't want to cancel the engagement. What the hell are you doing?" Sophia was taken aback for a moment. She immediately lowered her head. Sophia's father gave her a deep glance before saying, "You go out." Sophia has left. She not only walked by herself. He even took me away. Sophia's speed is too fast. Take my hand and run away. It's like eloping. I didn't even realize it. I am speechless. What kind of operation is this? I asked. "Sophia, what are you up to?" Sophia remained silent. But her hand was tightly gripping my arm. "The more you pinch, the harder you apply." I forcefully pulled her hand away. Sophia left 2 long red marks on my arm. I hissed angrily and cursed. Can't you fix your paw? Sophia seems to have just regained her senses. She looked at the scar with guilt. Asked cautiously. Are you all right? I am trapped in my heart. I really don't know what Sophia is up to. I always thought that the resistance to divorcing would only come from Sophia's family. Sophia might even be able to help me. I didn't expect her to become the first roadblock. Sophia. What the hell are you doing? Didn't you always want to quit your marriage? Now I have followed your wishes. What are you messing around with again? Listen to my question. Sophia suddenly laughed. But it's even uglier than crying. She cried to me and said, where can I tell that it goes my way? Do my intentions matter to you? Did you get my consent before making any decisions? I seem to understand her meaning of it now. I looked at Sophia and said, so do you think it hurt your face for me to propose quitting the marriage? No problem. Then you propose to withdraw from the marriage. I can even tell everyone in the circle that you dumped me. I smiled as I spoke. I continued speaking. Actually, there's no need to be so troublesome. Didn't you already announce the candidate for marriage last time? It's only natural for us to divorce now. Sophia looked at me and said, be without. I asked. What? Sophia looked at me and said, I have never considered marrying anyone else. I fell silent for a few seconds and said, but you will always marry someone else. This is what I suddenly figured out on the day of her birthday banquet. 6 years. I'm already tired. But Sophia seemed to be struggling with unlimited energy. The people at the banquet that day may not necessarily be the ones she really wants to marry. But sooner or later, she will get married. I never like being passive as a person. So I must plan ahead and take control of the initiative in my own hands. Sophia and I ultimately parted ways unhappily. She left only one sentence with hatred. James. This time, what you said doesn't count. I said, of course it doesn't count. But what she said doesn't count. This thing needs to be discussed. I had already taken Emily to meet my grandfather before meeting your father. We had a meal together. We had a few casual conversations. I didn't say much. Everyone understands. That night, Grandpa relaxed his grip. I am old. I can't care about your young people anymore. Go ahead and do whatever you want. This time I went straight to Sophia's father's office. We talked for an hour in total. My engagement with Sophia has been terminated. We have agreed to announce the cancellation of the engagement on our respective company websites tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Emily asked me. So what benefits did you give to Sophia's family? At this moment, Emily no longer feels the sense of alienation she experienced during the day. She looked at me with a curious expression on her face. I called Emily as soon as I left Sophia's father's company. I want to invite her for a meal. As a result, Emily directly asked me to go to her house. I was a little hesitant at first. Later on, when I thought about it, the relationship immediately changed. Trying dishes in advance is also good. I overthinked the outcome. Emily is just resting today. She simply doesn't want to go out. Emily doesn't have much hospitality either. I had the nanny cook 2 cooking packages. I opened a bottle of wine. But it's quite relaxing. I looked at Emily and said, you are being paranoid. Am I the kind of person who endures humiliation and carries heavy burdens? Emily tilted her head and looked at me with a curious expression. I explained. Actually, Sophia's family doesn't have much control over me. During these 6 years. Nobody's fool. It's just a win-win cooperation. The only one is the real estate project in California. Sophia's family is an investor. If I divorce, they will withdraw their investment. If they withdraw their investment, that piece of land hit me in the hand. It will break the funding chain in my hands. So I urgently need to find a big troublemaker with funds, strength, and willingness. I looked at her with sparkling eyes. Emily looked at me speechlessly. She said, don't look at me with that kind of gaze. I have questions all over my head. She said disdainfully. You make me feel like a big injustice clock like this. My heart was shaken. Can this person read minds? So I said, how come? You are my savior. Emily sneered and remained silent. A look of disbelief on his face. So I joked. You see. To repay your life-saving kindness. I have pledged myself to each other. If you don't believe it, I can promise it to you anytime. Emily blushed and said, don't play with the bandits. I see it's already 9:30. Emily and I took out our phones at the same time. I said, "The news will be announced tomorrow. If I take advantage of the opening of the US stock market to short Sophia's father's company, isn't it a bit unfair?" Emily chuckled briefly, ignoring me. I looked at her curiously. "What are you doing?" Seeing the interface on her phone, I hissed and said, "You're being unkind." Emily looked up at me and said, "Right back at you. I have a bad feeling in my heart." Nervously asked, "Who have you bought?" Emily said calmly, "Of course, it's the Sophia family and the James family." Now it's me who's a bit speechless. The second day. The news of the termination of the engagement has arrived as scheduled. Netizens exploded. People in the circle have also exploded. People are calling me and sending messages one after another. Ask me what's going on. I was so annoyed that I posted 4 words on my social media. Separated, do not disturb. No way out. Too busy. There is still a group of board members to appease. As a result, Sophia rushed straight into my conference room. My assistant is very helpless. She compared her mouth shape to mine, indicating that she couldn't stop me at all. Sophia's condition is not very good. I can even see blood streaks in her eyes. Sophia seems to be furious. I looked at Sophia and said, "You go to my office first. I'll talk to you after the meeting." Sophia gave a cold laugh. She bit her lip and said to me, "James, you're ruthless. You're really tough. You said you liked me back then. You've been chasing after me for so many years. You insisted on marrying me. It's you. Pa. I dropped a folder on the table. Interrupted her words. I ordered, "Chloe, you come to continue the meeting." "Okay, James." I glanced at Sophia. Walked out of the conference room. She followed me into my office. Sophia fiercely said to me, "Now you feel embarrassed, don't you? James, all of this is your own fault. I never asked you to. I haven't forced you either. You've been pressuring me all along." I looked coldly at Sophia. "Wait until she finishes speaking," I said from the beginning. "It's really embarrassing. But it wasn't my person who was lost. It's from your Sophia family." Sophia stared at me fiercely. It's like trying to make 2 holes in me. I continued speaking. "Sophia, this is not the first time you have intruded into my conference room. But it's the last time. Next time, I will ask the security to take you out." "Sophia, everyone is now an adult. Adults have adult game rules. Not all places are where you can come and go whenever you want." Sophia seemed to have suffered a great blow. Her face turned pale in an instant. Sophia murmured, "You said you like me. James. You can't do this. Look at Sophia like this." I have some powerless words to say. "Sophia, can you be more sober?" "Yes. I said I like you. But when was that already? The first time I said I liked her was in high school. The last time I said I liked her was in high school." I looked at her and said, "We were 17 years old back then. We are 26 years old now. It's been almost 10 years now. 10 years of time. My hobbies, tastes, and dressing styles have completely changed. I have long forgotten what it felt like to like 10 years ago. And is it important to you that I like you?" Sophia stumbled and took 2 steps back. She panicked and said, "You no longer like me." "Yeah, that's right. You no longer like me. I have done so many things over the years." Your response is plain. Not essential. Even if I kiss someone, you can pretend not to see it. Afterwards, we can warn those people not to share the photos. I am testing your bottom line step by step. But you have no bottom line for me at all. As long as you don't have sex with others, it's okay. He. As long as you don't have sex, it's okay. Everyone thinks you love me very much. But only I know. You don't love me at all." Sophia shouted at me. "For what? Why do you love when you say you love? If you say you don't love, then you don't love. Why do you say engagement, then cancellation?" "James. What on earth are you?" I was a bit stunned. Blurted out to Sophia. With my current ability. At the same time, I also realized that something was wrong. "Sophia. You won't like me, will you?" Sophia froze in place instantly. She instinctively wanted to refute. But suddenly he restrained himself. She remained silent at this moment. But I feel a bit absurd. I was stunned for a while before saying, Sophia, who taught you to like people like this? Sophia seemed to see hope. She said, I don't know how to like someone. I was wrong all these years. I won't do this again. We won't break the engagement. Okay or not? Sophia has never spoken to me in such a humble tone before. But it's actually not necessary. I said. Sophia. What has changed for me over the years is also my criteria for choosing a spouse. When I was young, I liked beautiful and flamboyant things. But now, I like someone who can compete with me. Mutual respect and understanding. You are not qualified. Sophia never met my criteria for choosing a spouse. But Sophia's family meets the criteria. I used to think, Sophia, if she wants to play around, she can play around. Just don't cause me any trouble. But the facts over the years have proven that she's just a trouble. Emily called me. She asked. My ex-fiancé AE is still entangled. I smiled and said to her, Emily, you're quite well informed. Emily sneered and said, I'm not well informed. It was your former fiancé AE who caused too much chaos. I have a headache. This is the mouth of an ex-fiancé AE. Why does it sound a bit sour? But I don't think she's jealous. Emily and I are the same type of person. If there is such a commotion on her side, I would also be unhappy. I quickly promised. Only once. Not to be taken as a precedent. Emily, hang up the phone. I asked the assistant to tell the front desk. Sophia needs to make an appointment when she comes over in the future. I'd been busy all day. I finally calmed down the board of directors. It's time to finish work. I actually received another call from Emily. Her tone is somewhat subtle. Emily asked. Your front desk asked me to make an appointment. I am speechless. But that's not the point. I asked. You are here. Emily didn't speak. I instantly understood. I said. You give the phone to the front desk. Solved Emily's situation here. I instructed my assistant again. In the future, when Emily comes, there's no need to stop her. Let her come up directly. Emily. My assistant looked shocked. I nodded. She silently gave me a thumbs up. I'm speechless. Emily has arrived. I didn't come empty-handed. He even brought me dinner. I am indeed hungry. But 7 or 8 bags of cooking bags are too many. So I tactfully expressed that I couldn't eat so much. Emily is a bit speechless to me. She looked at me and said, Can't I eat with you? I smiled. Emily and I moved a place in the office. We talked about real estate projects in California while eating. After all, she will be holding onto my lifeline in the future. Always be open and honest with her. Wait until the matter is resolved. My stomach is also full. I asked Emily. You're not here specifically to bring me dinner, are you? Emily raised her eyebrows and said, I have already met your grandfather. When are you planning to come back with me to see my parents? I was so scared by her sudden words that a mouthful of water got stuck in my throat. Not even entering. Not even out. Finally, I choked and coughed. Emily looked at me with a resentful expression and said, You don't want to cross the river, demolish bridges, recite scriptures, or visit nuns, do you? I suppressed my cough and quickly said, Yes? How is that possible? Emily finally calmed down and reached out to pat my back. She snorted and said, It's better not to. Quite a while. I finally calmed down. I feel helpless. I said to Emily. To be honest, I have no successful experience in getting along with my elders. After speaking, I shook my head. No more talking. My parents passed away early. I was raised by my grandfather since I was young. My grandfather, right. Heavy prophet. He trained me to cultivate an heir. So my relationship with him has always been based on interests. Damaging interests will result in being beaten. Emotions are not important. Let's handle business as usual. But Emily's parents are different. Because Emily has a vested interest in me. Not her parents. So for a moment, I felt a bit melancholic. Emily, however, said indifferently. What experience is needed for this? Just cater to their preferences. My dad loves to drink coffee. My mom loves beauty. I took a deep breath and asked, When will we go see them? Emily responded, Next weekend. I gritted my teeth and said, Okay, I got it. Emily frowned and looked at me. I asked, Are you okay? She looked at me for a while before saying, James, don't make it seem like you're going to die generously. My parents won't eat you anymore. And I will also help you smooth things out. Getting along with Emily is very comfortable. She knows how to balance and advance. I will never make you feel offended at any time. And since being with her, I'm making more and more money. Emily can't be my lucky cat, can she? Emily smiled and said, your ability to attract wealth and fortune is also good. I reached out my hand with satisfaction, smiling and saying to her, a pleasant cooperation. Emily cooperated and shook my hand, saying, a pleasant cooperation. I haven't seen Sophia for a long time. Just when I was about to forget her, Sophia looked haggard and found me. She's been crazy lately. The clothes I wear are getting cooler and cooler. The time spent at the bar is getting later and later. I can always see various lights and drinks on my social media every day. I even received a few phone calls. On the phone, Sophia refused to leave no matter what. She insisted that I go. They showed me their past friendship. Go up and persuade Sophia. Most people like this have been blacklisted by me. Slowly, the phone stopped ringing. I didn't expect Sophia to block my doorstep. She stood by the door, still holding a bottle of wine in his hand. The whole person seems to have lost all vitality. It looks lifeless. I'll just pretend I didn't see it. Open the door and prepare to enter. Sophia held my hand. I scolded in a low voice. Sophia! Let go. Sophia's hands trembled. Just when I was hesitating whether to take action or not, she let go. I breathed a sigh of relief. At the moment of closing the door, Sophia spoke up. I already know. I was stunned for a moment before asking, what? She lifted her head and looked at me. There seemed to be tears in my eyes. She's even trembling with her lips. Sophia cried and said to me, my dad told me, if it weren't for you choosing to get engaged to me back then, he had already brought his illegitimate child home a long time ago. Sophia lifted her arm and covered her eyes. My father actually had an illegitimate child. That bastard is 2 years younger than me. And I never knew. On the second day after we canceled our engagement, my father let him join the company. And I don't know yet. Not long ago, my father transferred a lot of shares to him. I still don't know. Until yesterday, he brought his illegitimate child back home. He said that's my younger brother. Let me get along well with him. How is that possible? Is he crazy? He said if it weren't for you, he wouldn't even consider letting his daughter inherit Sophia's family property. I have already brought back my illegitimate child. Sophia, put down your arm. Her eyes are red. She asked me, James, am I a failure? I spoke calmly and said, yes. You are a failure. Sophia gave a bleak smile. She said, you really dislike me. Not even a hint of comfort is offered to me. She's a drunkard. I don't want to reason with her. Sophia, take 2 steps back. Leaning against the wall. She murmured, I seem to always be the one left behind. When I was a child, I fought against my father. Go against him. I thought as long as I didn't follow my father's instructions, I could make him feel uncomfortable. I thought indulging myself was a punishment for him. But he had already given up on me. Give up on me and you. Sophia looked at me with a smile and tears, and continued speaking. I'm still trying my best to make you value me more. But you don't like me anymore. I'm the only one spinning around in place. You have already moved forward. You are all moving forward. I'm the only one staying in place. You all abandoned me. You don't want me anymore. No one is waiting for me. You didn't even wait for me. Sophia kept saying those words over and over again, completely immersed in their own emotions. I called Sophia's best friend. Not long after, she came over in a sports car. Sophia's best friend looked at me. She sighed before saying, what kind of fate are you? I smiled and didn't say anything. She asked again. I really can't give Sophia another chance. I shook my head and said, you said it was fate. She gritted her teeth. Reluctantly helped Sophia up. She said, I knew Sophia would regret it. Sophia's incident left me feeling regretful about my youth. But apart from that, it didn't have much impact on me. On the contrary, it was Emily's parents' situation that caused me trouble. Emily's mother loves beauty. But buying cosmetics and skincare products is definitely impossible. Finally, I chose a diamond necklace. Women love diamonds until death. As for Emily's father, that must be coffee to be given as a gift. I have a few options. Preparing to ask Grandpa to help make a decision. But after reading it, my grandfather gave me 4 words. The price is too low. I said helplessly. These boxes of coffee are already expensive enough. Grandpa snorted and said, Wait. After a while, he took out a can of coffee beans and said to me, You take this. I looked at the rudimentary packaging and said, Do you want me to be kicked out of the house? Grandpa rolled his eyes and said, A dog's I can't see a mountain. This can of mine is enough to buy 10 of the ones you have in your hand. I asked in confusion whether it was true or false, but my grandfather kicked me out. In the end, I still took it. After all, don't take it for free. Before leaving, my grandfather reminded me. Go to someone else's house and have a good conversation. Listen to what your elders say. Don't argue. I'm quite speechless. I want to ask him back. When did I refute it? But it seems like I really don't understand when I say that. In the end, I could only keep my mouth shut in frustration. It will be the weekend soon. I asked the driver to take me to pick up Emily. Along the way, I felt like a gourd with its mouth sawed off. The air inside the car is so quiet that it's suffocating. Suddenly Emily held my hand. I asked her in confusion. What do you want? Emily looked at me and smiled, saying, Give you some warmth. I'm afraid you scared me to death before you even arrived. I am speechless. Do you believe me when I say I'm not nervous? She shook her head. I awkwardly smiled and said, All right. I'm a bit nervous. So I hugged her shoulder directly. I proudly said to Emily, This is what we call warmth. She blushed and looked at me, asking, James, are you sure you're not taking advantage of me? I sneered and said, Isn't that what I should have? She pursed her lips and nodded. I softly said what I should do. The atmosphere at Emily's house is more harmonious than I imagined. Emily's father's cooking. It tastes great. Emily's mother seems to only be responsible for being beautiful as a flower. But she is indeed beautiful. After all, she used to be an actress. They really like my gift. Especially Emily's mother. I put on the necklace on the spot. Just a bit confused about the direction of the conversation behind. Emily's father asked us, When are you planning to get married? Emily looked at me and asked, When are you planning to marry me? I really want to scold her. Is she causing such trouble? So I said, I can do it any time. I have to respect Emily's opinion. I'll listen to her about this. Emily looked at me. I raised an eyebrow at her. As a result, she said, My idea is to get the certificate by the end of the month. Wedding at the end of the year. I'm stunned. Emily's mother is very happy. Excitedly, he pulled us to talk about wedding planning. Until I left, I felt like clouds and fog were swirling around me. It's really easy to talk about money. When I left, Emily said seriously, If you have a plan, just tell me in person. I asked her with a puzzled look on my face. What are you thinking about? Emily smiled and said to me, License issuance at the end of the month. Getting married at the end of the year. Do business. We need to add insurance to our cooperation. Isn't getting married a natural thing? Lying in bed at night. I started thinking about getting married. I weigh the pros and cons, analyze the gains and losses. Trapped oneself in a dilemma. But I had a glass of water. I suddenly had an epiphany. Emily seems to have given me a false proposition. I was originally aiming to marry her. Is it a question of whether it's early or late? Obviously not. So I sent her a message. Emily. I have considered it for a moment. Emily replied with a question mark. I ignored her and fell asleep directly. Wait until the next day. I told her. Marry me. Emily looked at me speechlessly. She asked in confusion. Are you sure? I asked her in confusion. Didn't we just go to get married? After speaking, I signed a check for $200 million for her on the spot and handed it over. Emily nodded and said sincerely, James. You are excellent. Until a few years later. Our daughters have all been born. Emily just told me. At that time, she thought I would definitely give her a romantic proposal scene. As a result, I gave her cash directly. Don't play with imaginary romantic rituals. I smiled and asked her. So you agreed? Emily looked at me and responded. Yeah, that's right. Make money. No shame. The date Emily and I agreed to receive the certificate is 3 days later. Because on that day, Emily will officially invest in a real estate project in California. We'll show off our marriage certificate when the time comes. That's a win-win situation. Sophia's family will send someone over today. Talk to us about future cooperation. What surprised me was that the person who came was actually Sophia. Surprised for 2 seconds. I quickly got up and shook hands with her. Sophia. Long time no see. Sophia looked at me. She held onto my hand tightly for several seconds before releasing it. She said, James. Long time no see. We didn't exchange much pleasantries with each other. Let's get straight to the point. What surprised me was, Sophia didn't take the opportunity to propose any conditions on her end. All contracts follow the previous ones. She said, James, don't worry. Our matter will not affect the cooperation between the two parties. I don't know if Sophia has put in a lot of effort inside. But it's not important. After all, not taking advantage of something is a jerk. So we quickly signed the contract. After finishing, Sophia asked, James, can we have a meal together? I nodded and said, certainly. Not eating food is a jerk. Since Sophia has decided to participate in the company's affairs, we will have plenty of opportunities to interact in the future. After all, leaving a line in front of others will make it easier to meet in the future. I often go to the place Sophia chose. It's the first time with her. Sophia ordered mostly my favorite dishes. And I'll just pretend not to know. I raised my glass and said, thank you, Sophia, for your warm hospitality today. I hope we can have a pleasant cooperation in the future. Sophia looked at me with a bitter smile and said, do we need to divide like this? Without engagement? Can't we even be friends? I responded by saying, of course, we can be friends. Sophia was stunned. She asked me if her complexion was not very good. Do you really have no feelings for me at all? I have a headache. I used to be surrounded by flowers. Why didn't you see that she's a love brain? I watched her respond seriously and said, Sophia, since you've gone to the company, work hard. Don't think about those messy things. Sophia looked at me without hesitation and said, if I work hard, can you give me another chance? I asked Sophia with some confusion. What opportunity? Sophia said, James, I won't give up on you. My heart is complicated. How can I gently tell her? I'm about to get married. Sophia, you can do anything. But don't do it for me. I don't pay for other people's lives. Sophia looked aggrieved and said to me, so for so many years, you have never advised me. Whatever I want to do is my business. It has nothing to do with you. Once what I do breaks through your bottom line, you'll kick me off. Am I right? Sophia's emotions became excited. I looked at her and said, so are you blaming me? Sophia's eyes twitched. She said, that's not what I meant. I rubbed my temples before continuing. Sophia. I struggled and fell all the way out on my own. I can't even be sure if the path I'm taking is necessarily the right one. Why should I offer advice and strategies for your life? That's still the same sentence. You can do anything. But don't pull me on. I won't pay for your life. I got up and wanted to leave. Sophia reached out to intercept. The door of the private room was pushed open at this moment. Emily walked in. Emily looked at us and said, I heard from the manager that you came over. I stepped forward and hugged her shoulder, saying to Sophia, let me introduce myself to you. Emily. My wife. Ignoring Sophia's pale face after being taken aback, I pulled Emily away. On the way home, Emily asked me, James, did you just use me? I smiled and asked her back, yes? Aren't you my wife? Emily chuckled and took my hand, saying, husband. Of course you can. Sophia seems to have been stimulated by me. She grabbed me regardless of the occasion and said, don't do this. James. Don't do this to me. You lied to me, right? You're retaliating against me. Is it? Sophia looked at me with a pleading expression in her eyes. I haven't reacted yet. Emily slapped her directly and said, Sophia. Please respect yourself. Sophia covered her face, eyes, and let out a low growl that was about to crack. Get lost. Give James back to me. Emily smiled and continued speaking. Sophia! You have already cancelled the engagement. Sophia shouted loudly. This is between me and James. It has nothing to do with you. After finishing speaking, Sophia quickly raised her hand to hit Emily. However, in the next second that was about to come into contact, I grabbed her hand and shook it hard. Pushed Sophia to the ground. I looked at Emily anxiously and asked, Are you all right? The light in Sophia's eyes, which was originally looking at me, has now gone out. I sneered and said to Sophia, Sophia! This is really boring. I don't care if you truly regret or if your regret is fake. We have now cancelled the engagement. Then please bite your own emotions and swallow them with blood. Don't provoke me again. Emily and I got off the underground parking lot. Emily suddenly grabbed me before getting on the car. I asked, Are you okay? Emily looked at me with a smile in her eyes and said, James, you were pretty cool just now. I've noticed that I'm starting to like you a bit. I raised my eyebrows and asked, Just a little. Emily smiled and said, That's a little more. I raised my hand and stroked the ends of her hair, saying, I approved it. I think we have cooperation. We will get married. Maybe we'll be together forever. I don't mind developing a relationship with Emily. 2 days later, Emily and I got up early in the morning. We rushed to the court. My assistant has already assigned us a number. We're shoulder to shoulder, head to head. Took a wedding ID photo. Tell the truth. At that moment, my heartbeat accelerated a bit. We obtained our marriage certificate as quickly as possible. Immediately returned to the company. Emily officially injects capital. Subsequently, our respective company websites posted the marriage certificates of our partners and ourselves. Above are separate captions. James, happy wedding. A pleasant cooperation. James' wife has a happy wedding. A pleasant cooperation. After obtaining the license, Emily and I moved in together. I bought a property that is very close to our workplace. We are very compatible. Whether in work or in life. This gradually nourished my life. I, feeling proud in the spring breeze, began to expand my career horizons. I want to get involved in any profitable business. No way out. After a strong alliance, it's crazy. Gradually, Emily and I were dubbed as a wealthy couple. I gladly accept this. I haven't followed Sophia's message for a long time. When I heard again, she had already been sent out of the country. This makes me quite curious. Her father is indeed very disappointed in her. But no matter what, these are the daughters he has loved the most since childhood. He didn't raise illegitimate children because he valued sons over daughters. But I want Sophia to return to the right path. Sophia's family is not a feudal family. There are no titles to inherit either. So there's never any talk of giving up. Especially now that Sophia has started to get down to work. So what exactly happened that sent Sophia abroad? I asked Emily. She hesitated and explained my confusion to me. Emily said, Sophia wanted to break through with me and was discovered by her father. I asked in confusion, how to kill fish and break the net. Emily continued to say, Sophia's idea is simple. That's stealing business. Regardless of cost or benefit. Fight a price war. Sophia has no say in the company at all. Sophia had just issued the instructions when her father found out. There was a heated argument between two people. Sophia threatened. She won't make Emily feel better. This kind of stubbornness completely disappointed her father. To prevent Sophia from causing further trouble, she was directly deported out of the country. I asked, why didn't you tell me? Emily glanced at me and said calmly, what should I tell you? Tell your ex-girlfriend that she can't forget you. You're too idle. Of course I'm not idle. I'm very busy. Being busy with business. We have to prepare for the wedding at the end of the year again. My plan is to outsource the wedding decoration. Accept various sponsorships. When Emily heard me say that, she came to kiss me angrily. I reluctantly kissed until the end. Out of necessity. Forced and helpless. I made a compromise out of necessity. Later on, I arranged the wedding to be very grand. Like a dream or a fantasy. Sophia is also here. She attended in her best attire. It seems like they're here to steal a kiss. But she didn't do anything. She sat there quietly. She quietly left. Later, Emily tiptoed and kissed me. Emily said to me with love in her heart, James, my future life. I need you to accompany me all the time.